Hi, so my presentation will be on red snapper in the Gulf of Mexico. So the topic of red snapper has been a widely discussed issue within the Gulf of Mexico since the late 1980s, as it has continued to be an exploited overfished species. Considered as being the second most important fisheries area in the United States, the management of red snapper in the Gulf of Mexico is vital. Many scientists have been researching various issues related to the red snapper populations in the Gulf. The issues scientists continue to study include population structure, migration patterns, larval recruitment, spawning locations, genetic variation, and the impact of anthropogenic events. However, the main issue which will be addressed is to identify the recruitment patterns, as there continues to be a rise in juvenile red snapper entering the supposedly overfished population. So basically, where are all these juvenile red snappers coming from? This will be carried out by identifying recruitment patterns, spawning locations, determine if movements around the Gulf are influenced by water currents, and also to detect if there is a particular population supporting the stock. Widely recognized journals within the field include the Journal of Aquatic Biology, Fisheries Research, Marine and Coastal Fisheries, North American Journal of Fisheries Management, and Environmental Biology of Fishes. Two main important organizations which assist in management and stock assessments of red snapper in the Gulf of Mexico are the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the Gulf of Mexico Fisheries Management Council. These organizations enforce both commercial and recreational fishing permits, fishing quotas, and provide educational and annual stock assessment reports. Major publications in the field which have been cited by many recent journal articles include those from Camper et al. And Goody et al. Camper investigated the population structure of red snapper through mitochondrial DNA analysis. Samples of red snapper were collected at various locations and testing of mitochondrial DNA variation was done. The results found that genetic evidence had failed to reject the null hypothesis of red snapper being a single unit stock in the northern Gulf of Mexico. However, there have been other studies done by Bortone and Chapman which had suggested that the red snapper in the northern Gulf of Mexico are not comprised of a single unit stock. Another publication comes from Goody, who had hypothesized that red snappers were stock mixing. Goody had suggested although red snapper is believed to be functioning as a single unit stock by the Gulf of Mexico's Fishery Management Council, there may be substock populations mixing. However, it has not been approved to officially say that this is occurring. So professional individuals within the field include Patterson, Cohen, Barnett, and Sluis, to name a few, who have studied red snapper and continue to within the Gulf. Studies which have been published by these well-known scientists are based on otolith elemental chemistry analysis to identify juvenile chemical signatures, determining spawning and recruitment locations as well as preferred habitats, stock structure to identify substocks within the population, and determine whether there is a specific group supporting the entire stock, and whether there are contributions feeding into the Gulf from outside waters. The study of red snapper and establishing their relationships in biology is crucial in the management of sustainable fishing to prevent the species from diminishing again. Fisheries which harvest red snapper as catch or as bycatch are all contributing to the overfishing destruction affecting the species population. This also includes commercial as well as recreational red snapper fishery and shrimp fishery. Bycatch in the brown shrimp fishery is the primary source of mortality of red snapper in the western Gulf of Mexico, as well as catch and bycatch in commercial fishery. Primary sources of red snapper mortality in the eastern Gulf of Mexico is catch and bycatch in recreational red snapper fishery. In June 2005, long-term measures to decrease red snapper harvest and bycatch was approved by the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council. This included rebuilding plans to rebuild the red snapper stock by 2032. Rebuilding plans allow to manage the harvest permitted in order to allow the stock to regain strong population numbers. So my aim for my research topic will be to identify recruitment patterns of juvenile red snappers from the Gulf of Mexico. Basically, it will be similar to the study conducted by Patterson, who will be completed through otolith elemental chemistry. However, let me explain once again why this research is significant and what has led to this area of research become such an importance within the field of fisheries management.